Hello, welcome to my first book review. If this is your first time here, welcome to my channel. I will be reviewing horror, mystery, suspense, thriller, and I will also be talking about books I've read, what I want to read, and then we'll see what else I get into. I'm new to this, so we'll see. My first book that I just read, I had not read anything in years, so my review may change based off of when I start reading more stuff. I grew up I'm a child of the 80s, was in middle school, high school, middle school like in the 90s. So I was into Christopher Pike, R.L. Stine. I used to read those all the time. And then when I became an adult, I was trying to get into the thriller, mystery stuff, but then I just never found anything that compelled me enough to read. And of course, as life happens, I just stopped reading altogether. But with everything that's happened, we're all slowing down. I wanted to read more and get off of TV and movies and social media. So now I'm just like so excited to be reading again. And the first one I picked up is based off of some recommendations on YouTube is Lock Every Door by Riley Sager. This is the first book I've read and I enjoyed it. I could not believe I actually got through this whole book in a week. I'm sure the more I read, the faster I'll get, or I'm sure it'll depend on the book. But what I will say for my review, the way I'm going to do it, at least right now, this is what I want to do. The first half of this video will be spoiler free. It'll probably be short and sweet because I have more to say involving spoilers. And then the other part will be with spoilers. I will put the time code below for where you can go if you want to watch the review with the spoilers. But I will start this review without the spoilers. So let's go. Brief synopsis of this book. It is about a young lady named Jules who is basically like everything is a mess in her life. She has no family. She lost her job. She was in a relationship. That didn't go well. I'm trying not to tell anything. And she's just like a mess. And she's sleeping on her friend's couch. So she sees an ad in the newspaper for an apartment sitter. And she goes to the apartment building. It's a building she's familiar with. It's supposed to be like a pretty famous building in Manhattan called the Bartholomew. And she shows up for the interview. She's desperate. And the lady gives her all these rules that she has to follow to live in the building. And the main thing is it's going to pay her $1,000 a week. So she's like, when do I start? Where can I sign the lease? Whatever. She's like, let's do this. So her friend, who was one of my favorite characters, she was like, you know, once she found out some of the things that were involved in this, she was like, you know, you don't have to do this. I'll loan you the money. And she was like, I don't want you to loan me the money. I want to earn things my way, which I understand that. But when some things don't seem right, you just gotta. So anyway, my review of this book has to do with the fact that I probably went into it the wrong way. I should have remembered that it was a thriller, mystery, suspense, not supernatural, nothing like that. I wouldn't put this in the horror category. Because it's called Lock Every Door, I was expecting it to be more horror-esque. There is a plot twist they reveal that I thought was the better one. That's the one I was like, that's it. And it was similar to what I had figured out. But then that was not the actual twist to the movie. There was another one that was the more realistic one. And that one I was kind of like, okay, I guess it's fine. And it had a happy little ending. For me, it started off like the first page, because that's what got me. The first page was like, oh, I was like, I'm here for this. And then you get into it more, and this spends a lot of time focusing on Jules. Like, you're with her, it's from her point of view. It gives you little bits and pieces every chapter of her life, because it starts off her life as a mystery. You really don't know a lot about her. So they give you a little bit more about her, like what happened to her parents, what happened, she has a sister, what happened to her sister, all of that. It really does a good job with her because you end up caring about her, liking her. That's what kept me going. But I was also kind of like, is something going to happen? Like, where's the mystery part? Which to me, that didn't come in until like 70% of the book. And then that's when it's just like, so much happens. Like once it kicks in until the end. I mean, like I said, once I realized what the twist was and it was more realistic, I was like, okay, fine, I'll go with it. And it was still well done. The ending I enjoyed. It was, it was fine. It was nothing spectacular. It was one of those kind of endings where it was like, oh, okay, that's cute. On Goodreads, I gave it 3 out of 5. I would say 3.5 out of 5. Now that I'm reading another book, which I'll talk about in another video, I probably would give this 4 out of 5 now. I really enjoy Riley Sager's writing. It was really easy to read. As I said, really fast for me who hasn't read in years. I got through it in a week, as I said. So yeah, I would recommend it. I would say if you're like me and you haven't read in a while, or you're new to the thriller genre, you're not looking for anything too graphic, gory. There's nothing in here that's too inappropriate. I, for one, even though I love horror, I'm still more geared towards ghost stories or paranormal activity, things to do with demons and exorcisms, vampires. When it comes to real life stuff, home invasions and slashers, I love that stuff when I was younger, but now that I'm older and more aware of what I consume, those aren't really my choices. So this is not, doesn't deal with any of that. I don't want to read anything that has to do with rape or any of that, and I will let you know if I happen to read one by accident, because some people, when they do reviews, they don't tell you that those things are in the book. So I appreciate anyone who does a video that will tell you about the triggers in a book. Yeah, so like I said, I gave it 3 out of 5. I would say now 4 out of 5. I may revise my review. That's my short and sweet review that does not have any spoilers, and now we'll get into my review with spoilers, where I'm going to get into the real of the book. Okay, so this is the review with the spoilers, where I'm going to get into it. It's funny, when I was on Goodreads, I was looking at someone's review and they said Jules was stupid or something like that, and I actually liked that comment. Only because I was just like, first of all, I have notes so I can remember things, because I read this probably 2 weeks ago now, and I'm so bad with names, so I had to write down names and just things to help me remember. But if I were to go somewhere and I was told I can't have anyone spend the night, this is somewhere I'm gonna be living. I don't care if it's 2 weeks, 2 months. I can't have any pictures or anything, that I can post on social media. No visitors. Now that's the one. I'm by myself and I can have company. Okay. And also, don't speak to the residents. You speak when spoken to. Who you talking to? Okay. I would have left, then there would have been no book. She wasn't the brightest to me, but I understand it's what had to be done for the book. There's always that character you just want to yell at, and I really was kind of yelling at her as I was reading it, because her friend Chloe, that's why I loved her, because she was the one saying, I think the author put her there because he knows she's saying what the reader would be saying, girl, why are you there? I will give you the money. She sent her an article about the hauntings and things that were bad with the building, telling her about people who died there, all this bad stuff. And she was just like, first of all, it took her forever to look at the article. I would have looked at it as soon as she sent it to me. Or I would have seen it and been like, I don't even like the fact that this is out there. But I understand she was desperate for the money, but her friend said she would loan it to her. But I digress. My thing with the book that disappointed me was that I thought when the author, Greta Manville, when she signed the book, I meant to write the quote down, but when she signed the book, Your Youth Gives Me Life, I was like, oh, I know what it is. I was like, they're taking their youth some kind of way, extracting, something from their blood, and they're injecting it into themselves, because we know everyone in the building is elderly or older. And so I was like, that must be what it is. And then when Jules looked into it and saw that she thought it was a devil worshiper, satanic cult thing, I was like, oh, that's it. And that's when I was creeped out. Especially when she was watching the video of, I don't know if it was Ingrid or the other young lady who disappeared from the building. I forgot to write her name down, forgive me. But when she was watching the video of what happened to her, and she said that Dylan showed up in her apartment, but she had locked all the doors. And I was like, oh, I'm like, ooh, this is creepy. He probably I don't know how he got in. And when we found out there was just a bookcase that opened up into her apartment, I was just like, that was it. I wanted it to be spookier. So I guess, again, I went into this the wrong way. As I said, this is not a horror novel, and that was my mistake. But for me, I just felt like the devil worshiping thing would have been a better reveal, and that was creepier for me. Once I found out they were just harvesting organs, I was kind of like, oh, okay. And then I saw some people say on Goodreads, people who are in the medical profession and people who have had organ transplant, they were saying that it's not realistic that you could do that with only 2 doctors and a nurse. So they were like, the author didn't, research well enough. That part went over my head. I didn't think about that. So luckily that didn't spoil it for me. The 2 twists that actually got me were what happened to her parents. I was shocked that her mom and dad, the dad set the house on fire. I mean, like, oh God, I couldn't even imagine. That shocked me. And it also shocked me when Ingrid bumped into her in the hallway in the very beginning and her groceries flew and she was bleeding and she didn't know how she was bleeding, that Ingrid cut her on purpose because, what's her face, Leslie Evelyn told her to. That part I was shocked because I was like, oh, dang. I would have never thought that. But I knew Dr. Nick was no good. She should have known not to sleep with him, not to get involved with him. That wasn't a shock to me that he was the bad guy and that I didn't care that he was related. His last name was Bartholomew. I didn't really care about that. As a villain, he was just kind of like, okay. I wasn't shocked about Charlie the doorman either. I mean, I just figured everybody in the building is in on this. Don't trust anybody. I was glad all of the apartment sitters weren't in on it. Dylan dying actually was sad. I actually got a little like, at the end when she went to see the building demolished and she thought about him dying and everything, I was just like, oh, Dylan. But anyway, so my review, like I said, still stands. I would up a half star because of the writing. As I said, I really enjoyed Riley Sager's writing. It was very easy to read. And as I said, I flew through it. I liked the way he wrote Jules. It was very easy to understand. But I took off a star because of the plot twist. It just was not good enough for me. And I was expecting a little more. But as I said, I have been watching horror movies since I was a kid, so it takes a lot to scare me. So, anyway, that is my first review. I hope you enjoyed it and you will come back for more. Next month, I also plan to do a to be read for November, TBR, I'm learning these terms. And I probably will do what I read in October because it's too late to do TBR for October. So, anyway. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you will subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, and come back for my next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.